Section 12.3, Measures of Central Tendency. Upon completion of this section, we'll be able to calculate measures of central tendency of a set of data, including the mean, median, mode, and mid-range. An average is a number that is representative of a group of data. There are at least 4 different averages: the mean, the median, the mode, and the mid-range. Each is calculated differently and may yield different results for the same set of data. Each will result in a number near the center of the data. For this reason, averages are commonly referred to as measures of central tendency, or also measures of center. The mean, x bar, is the sum of the data divided by the number of pieces of data, and the formula for calculating the mean is shown here, where that summation in the numerator of that fraction is a summation sign, means add up all the data values, and then n in the denominator represents the number of pieces of data. Determine the mean age of a group of firefighters if the ages of the individuals are 30, 21, 51, 37, and 51. So we go ahead and we add up the 5 numbers. We get 190, we divide by 5, and we get 38. So the average age of those 5 firefighters is 38 years. The median is the value in the middle of a set of ranked data. By ranked data, we mean we put it in order from smallest to largest. So we're going to work with the firefighters' ages again. We're going to put them in order, and we notice the data value in the middle here is 37. Now, we're going to do some more examples with median, because the median calculation will depend on whether there's an even number of data values or an odd number of data values in the data set. So let's take a look at that first data set, and we notice there are 8 data values in that data set, and I've put them in order here. There is not one single number in the data set in the middle, but we're going to go halfway between the middle 2 values, which is the 4th and the 5th, 12 and 13. So we take the average of those, or the mean of those, divide by 2, and we get a median of 13. In this data set, we notice that there are an even number of data values again, 2 pieces of data in the middle, 8 and 8. We're going to take the average or the mean of those 2, and we get 8. The mode is the piece of data that occurs most frequently. We talked about this in section 12.2. Some data sets don't have a mode, and some data sets will have more than one mode. Let's look at the firefighters' data again. Let's calculate the mode of this data set. And we notice that the age 51 is the mode because it occurs twice, and the other values occur only once. The mid-range is the value that's halfway between the lowest and the highest in a set of data. Determine, this should say the mean age. It should say the mid-range of this group of firefighters' ages. So we're going to take the smallest, which is 21, plus the largest, which is 51, divide by 2, and we get 36 years. To use Excel to find the measures of central tendency, put the data into a column. To find the mean, take a blank cell in the Excel spreadsheet, type an equal sign, and then the formula window in the upper left corner will open. And when I use that little toolbar there, the little arrow right here, which is going to open up the menu, and you want to look down here and see if you see the word average. That's the name that Excel uses for the calculation of the mean. You want to pick the average, and then you're going to have a window that comes up like this, and you want to tell it where the data are, where the cells are that you want to take the average of the numbers. And I'm going to highlight cells A2 to A6, and then select hit OK, and then it will show me that the mean, sorry, I didn't show the mean coming up there. It actually is shown right here, 38. Once I hit OK, it will put that into that cell that I had the equal sign in. To find the median, type an equal sign. The formula window will open up again. You want to scroll down, look probably for more functions, because median is not one that we use very often. And you want to type in the word median and search for it. And then once you find it, hit OK. Identify the cells where you want to find the median. And again, there's my median, in this case 37, and that was what we had found before. And then to find the mode, same thing, type in an equal sign, and again, you're probably going to have to go down to more functions to locate this function for the mode. Identify the cells, and again, the mode will be identified here. It will be also placed into the cell where you had typed the equal sign. To find the mid-range, there's not a function in Excel for mid-range. But what you want to do is you want to find the minimum and the maximum and take the difference and divide by 2. So search for the minimum, and we got 21. And then you want to do the same thing to find the maximum. and we got 51. And then you're going to use a calculation either you can do it in a cell in Excel or do it by hand, the min plus the max over 2, and we get 36. A mean average of 60 on 6 exams is needed to pass the course. On her first 5 exams, Cheryl received grades of 49, 74, 71, 60, and 69. What grade must she receive on her last exam to pass the course? So let's let Y be the last exam grade. So we want to find, we know the mean has to be 60 for the 6 exams, and we know the formula for the mean is shown here. So we can use that formula to find Y, and we're going to replace that last test score with Y because we don't know it. So let's go ahead and simplify our formula. I added up the 5 numbers on the right side in the numerator, and I got 323. And what I'm going to do now is multiply both sides by 6. So I have 360 equals 323 plus Y. Subtract 323 from both sides, and I come up with a grade of 37. So she needs a 37 in order to pass the course with an average of a 60. Now, she would like to get a C, and now she needs to have an average of a 70. So now we're going to use that same formula, but now it has to come up with an average of a 70. So similar to what we did before, we're going to multiply both sides by 6, subtract 323 from both sides. Now she needs to get a 97 if she wants to get a C. Now, what if the last test score, the lowest test score rather, is dropped? What grade does she need to pass the course? So we're going to drop the test score of 49. We have 5 test scores left. And we're going to find the last test score. And passing the class, remember, she only needs an average of 60. So likewise, what we did before, we're going to multiply both sides by 5, subtract 274 from both sides. So she needs a 26 on the last test in order to pass the course. Now, what if she wants to get a C? Okay, so again, we're going to drop that 49. Here's our formula. Now we're going to multiply both sides by 5. Subtract 274. She needs to give it a 76 in order to get a C. Section 12.4 are measures of dispersion. In this section, we will be able to calculate the range of a set of data and the standard deviation. Measures of dispersion are used to describe the variability of the data, including the spread of the data. The range is the difference between the highest and the lowest value. It indicates the total spread of the data. Determine the range of this data set. The amount of carbohydrates in grams of 10 different types of yogurts is given below. Determine the range. So the highest minus the lowest, 29 minus 8, 21. Be very careful when you get a data set. Don't assume that the first number is the largest or the smallest and that the last number is the largest or the smallest. You want to make sure you look through the data and find the largest and smallest. The standard deviation measures how much the data differ from the mean. It is symbolized with S when it's calculated for a sample and with sigma, Greek letter sigma, when it's calculated for the population. The formula for the standard deviation is shown here. And notice we sum up, first we find the mean, then we take the distance each data value is from the mean, square that difference, add those all up for all the data values, divide by n minus 1, and then take the square root. So here's the steps. And I'm going to work an example by hand to show you how to do it. So let's take an example here. We've got stock market, 9 stocks on the New York Stock Exchange, and we've got their stock prices, and we want to get the standard deviation. So we find the mean first, and it comes out here to be $51. So here's what the table looks like. On the left-hand column, we've got all the individual stock prices. In the next column, we took each stock price and subtracted the mean. Remember, the mean was 51. And then we take those, what we call those, the deviations. And if you notice also importantly, these add up to 0. Then in the last column, we take each deviation and square it. We add those all up. So if you add up that last column on the prior page, you get 5836. I think that actually showed that to you there. Yeah, 5836. I'm going to divide by n minus 1, which is 9 minus 1 or 8. And then take the square root, and we get a standard deviation of a little bit more than $27. Now, I'm going to urge you to use Excel to find the standard deviation because it's very easy to do. I put the stock prices into one of the columns, and then just like we did before, pick a blank cell, type an equal sign, the formula window will open up, and you want to go ahead and you want to be very careful here to select for more functions, and you want to use stdev.s for a sample, standard deviation of a sample. Identify the data values that you want to work with, and then you're going to go ahead and hit OK, and it will put it into that cell. And if you notice here, the standard deviation 27.01, which is what we found when we did it by hand. To find the range, enter the stock prices into a column. There's not a range function, but you can find the min and the max and subtract, just like we did for the mid-range. So go ahead and type an equal sign into a blank cell, pick more functions, search for the max, go ahead and find the max, do the same thing for the min, and then I went ahead and I wrote a formula in here. I said the range is the maximum, which is in this case in B12, minus the minimum at B13, and then I get my range. And there's my answer.